What's going on, everybody? It's your boy FluffaNuttah back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2007 Nicolas Cage movie, Ghost Rider. And I'm going to say right off the bat, this fucking movie has some of the best aura of the early 2000s. I'm going to say it. This can stand side by side next to fucking Blade and not even bat an eye. Like, dude, if my little fucking comic book minded brain would ever have the blessed fucking chance to see Blade and Ghost Rider in the same movie, dude, the amount of peak that would be fucking aura. That would be so much aura that I would explode. I wouldn't be able to comprehend how much aura that would have. That's how much aura it has. On God. Because this fucking movie is no exception. This takes the rule of cool to a next level. And I can't stress enough how good this movie is. Sure. Is it perfect? We all know that it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Movies are subjective. Whatever someone thinks is perfect, some other person out there who, is living out there, they're gonna say that it's dog shit, right? But a lot of the movies I've been talking about are from my little collection of movies that I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm explaining why I enjoy them. And not everybody is to enjoy them. That's fine. But I'm giving the reason as to why I personally enjoy this stuff. So hopefully I connect to some people that also enjoy this stuff too, because I really enjoy them. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the whole point of these videos, is to just talk about cool shit that I find cool. So yeah. Anyways, let's just hop right into it. So the movie starts off with a monologue by our boy Sam Elliott, who, if you remember from the 2003 Hulk movie, he played General Ross, Betty's father figure, the guy from the army that was trying to get him. And he was telling us some backstory on the Ghost Rider lore, if you're unfamiliar with the comics. And this is probably going to be a piss poor Sam Elliott impression, so Sam Elliott, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. But here we go. I'm going to try my best.
It's said that the West was built on legends, tall tales to help us make sense of things too great or too terrifying to believe. This is the legend of the Ghost Rider. Story goes that every generation has one. Some damn soul cursed to ride the earth, collecting on the devil's deals. Many years ago, a Ghost Rider was sent to the village of San Venganza to fetch a contract worth 1,000 evil souls. But that contract was so powerful, he knew he could never let the devil get his hands on it. So he did what no rider has ever done before. He outran the devil himself. The thing about legends is, sometimes they're true.
Well, I hope that was great. I don't know how that sounds like, but I tried my best. But anyway, yeah, he tells us that the West was built on legends, and we get to see what looks like a Western version of a Ghost Rider, potentially. And this gets confirmed by the end of the monologue, where we do in fact see a guy on a horse who catches on fire and does not give the contract worth 1,000 evil souls to the devil. And I gotta say that if this had a spin-off based on this, I would have fucking watched it, because that's fucking peak, dude. I love Western shit. Like, Red Dead Redemption is like some of my favorite video games ever. So seeing fucking a Ghost Rider based in a Western setting would be fucking awesome. That's my little 2 cents on that. But yeah, so Ghost Rider is essentially the devil's bounty hunter. He'll ask him to go do something, and whoever's the Ghost Rider is legally obligated. But he usually gives them a deal, so it's like, playing off of selling your soul for the devil. and all that stuff. But done in a really cool way, and I really enjoy the concept. Like the entire concept of working for the devil, even though you don't want to, because he's tricked you into doing some shit, and using that against him, just straight up aura. Can I just say it? Aura. Yeah, so this particular one was sent to the village of San Venganza. We'll get a little bit more detail about San Venganza later on. But there's a contract there worth 1,000 evil souls. He doesn't give it to the devil because the devil would get super powerful, and he just decides to outrun him, not let him get his hands on it. And he stays the Ghost Rider because every time they finish their contract, they lose the Ghost Rider power, and he gives it to someone else. Well, fast forward to where the movie actually begins in the so-called present day. We fast forward to what looks like a carnival. I would say this is probably like the 60s, 70s era. We get a younger main character here, so I think he's like 18 or something. They don't really explain it, but we're here at a carnival, and there's an attraction here that's getting everybody like to the tent to where they're gonna go watch this. It's the duo of Barton and Johnny Blaze, who are stuntmen, kind of akin to Evel Knievel. They do motorcycle stunts where they jump through hooping, like flaming hoops, and they'll jump over cars. And his dad eventually was like, what would be even cooler than a hoop of fire or a car, a helicopter. We're watching them do some stunts. There's a girl in the crowd that young boy Johnny is trying to impress, and the dad takes a note of this. And then after they're done with their little stunts, the dad is talking to Johnny. He's like, "Hey, son, like, I saw what you were doing in there." And he's like, "What are you talking about, Dad? I wasn't doing anything." And he's like, "Bullshit. You were trying to woo that girl. You think she's gonna stand by you when you get put in a wheelchair for being stupid? I don't think so. I wouldn't." I'm paraphrasing here, but you get the gist. And Johnny's shrugging it off. He loves her. She loves him. He's young. He's reckless, and he calls him a hot shot, which obviously he's gonna get turned on fire, which is kind of cool. Little foreshadow. But yeah, and then we get to hear the dad cough a little bit, indicating that he may potentially be under the weather, and we'll get a little bit more on that. And so it then cuts to Johnny and his girl, who we learn is named Roxanne, and he's carving their initials J+R forever into a tree. Doing the cutesy, like we're gonna be together forever, we're so in love type, teenager vibe. And they're out by this tree, and the landscape's beautiful, and it's playing like an emotional song here to get you that much invested into their relationship. But obviously he noticed something's wrong with Roxanne, and he asks her, "What's up, Roxy?" And she's like, "Well, I'm leaving." And he's like, What the fuck are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah, my dad's making me move in with my mom, and he says that you're nothing but a phase, and I'm leaving, dog. Like, it's rough out here." And he's like, "Fuck." And she's like, "Yeah, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, "Well, there's one thing we can do. We'll get on the bike and we'll just keep riding." And she's like, "But what about your dad? What about the show?" And he's like, "Well, my dad doesn't need me. Like, he can do it without me. Like, shit's easy. We'll just get on the bike and keep going, and we'll be together forever." And yeah, I support it. I ship it. Fuck it. What do they got to lose? Well, we're about to learn what they got to lose, because they're gonna meet there the next day, and everything's gonna be hunky-dory, and nothing bad is gonna go wrong. And then we cut to Johnny, going home. He's come in, and his dad is already asleep. He's got cigarettes in his hand. He takes the cigarettes away from his dad while he's sleeping, and being a good son. And he notices a letter in the trash. He pulls the letter out of the trash, and it says that his dad has cancer. However, his dad never told him this, so this is a complete shock to Johnny. So now he's rethinking everything. He's rethinking the decision of leaving his dad because his dad's sick. He wants to stay there and help his dad. So he's got a lot of conflict going on. And he goes out and tries to clear his head by fixing on his bike. He's very good with his hands. And working on his bike, he's able to think about things a lot more clearly. I assume. I'm taking a lot of liberty here to add details that probably aren't there. But, stuff that in my head kind of makes sense. Well, while he's doing this, we get a nice little shot of some creepy man walking down the carnival, streets or whatever it's called. And he's walking down towards the tent where Johnny's working on his bike. And the lights are breaking, and they're doing they're really setting him up to be super evil and menacing. And, he gets into the tent and goes, Johnny Blaze. And, he's hyping him up like, you're one of the greatest performers. And he's like, yeah, you really think so? He's like, yeah, maybe you could ride for me one day. And, subtly, foreshadowing again. The foreshadowing in this is pretty cool. And he's like, oh, yeah, you have a show? He's like, yeah, greatest show on earth. He's like, well, I think I'll pass. And then, he's talking, he's hyping up Johnny. And he's like, well, I came to give you a deal, Johnny Blaze. And he's like, yeah, what's the deal? And he's like, well, I heard that your dad is sick. I mean, anybody can tell that he's sick. But, what if I could tell you that I can make him better? And he's like, yeah, how can you make him better? Well, if you sell me your soul by sunrise, your dad will be healthy. And as he's talking, I'm paraphrasing here, so a lot of the aura gets lost in translation when I'm describing this. But just imagine a creepy man walking around Johnny as he's saying this. The lines are a little bit more drawn out. And as he's doing this, it's storming outside, and the lightning flashes onto the tent, and you see, instead of his shadow, you see what looks like a creepy, devilish version, indicating to us that this guy is the devil. It's very it's very subtle, indicating that he could potentially be the devil, with him actually saying that he would require only that Johnny sell his soul to him, as well as having a cane with the skull, the lights breaking, and doing some really supernatural shit. Yeah, so he's telling Johnny that he'll be healthy. All he has to do is sign this contract. And Johnny takes a look at the contract. He's reading through it. But before he can, the devil looks down where I presume his thumb is. It gets Johnny to get a paper cut, which causes his thumb to bleed, and it drops a spot of blood right where Johnny would normally sign with a pen. Meaning that Johnny didn't actually have enough time to think whether or not he wanted to do it. The devil just did it for him. Because he's the devil. He's that guy. And he's like, well, that'll do. Get fucked, loser. You're mine now. And then skedaddles on out of the tent. But we don't actually see that. We flash to Johnny waking up. Presumably, it was all a dream. Until his dad, has him wake up and goes, rise and shine, sleepyhead. I'm as healthy as a horse, and as soon as I go to tell you that I was sick, here I am, super healthy, and I'm feeling even better than before. Why don't you get my bike ready? We got a show to do, partner. Let's saddle up, all that stuff. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but he's healthy. He's completely healthy, just like that guy said he was. All is good in the world. Hey, maybe it's not so bad, right? Well, that is until they get the bike ready. He's off doing his solo performance, and in the doorway of this tent ominously stares the man who Johnny sold his soul to. And this is where we see the devil cause Johnny's dad to fuck up his jump through the hoop, and his bike explodes, causing him to die. And Johnny rushes over, tries to help out his dad, but it's too late. We get an emotional scene of Johnny crying. And I gotta say, the young actor that portrays Johnny here, honestly wouldn't have minded to actually see him as Ghost Rider. And don't get me wrong, I love Nicolas Cage, but I feel like this guy could have done an amazing job as well. And I actually fuck with this guy a lot too. But yeah, we get an emotional scene with young Johnny, and Johnny looks up and notices the guy that gave him the deal in the doorway, and subtly disappears like he was never there at all. And then this pisses off Johnny. Johnny doesn't know what to do, so he's off riding, trying to clear his head. And then as he's riding, the devil appears before him at a crossroads, which is, metaphorically, it's a visual metaphor, because Johnny at this point in the story is indeed at a crossroads. He doesn't know whether or not to go with Roxy, doesn't know whether to stay, doesn't know whether to, try to fight this guy. Well, he doesn't get to choose, because the devil shows up in front of him and kind of throws a wrench in his plans. And he's like, he causes Johnny to fall off his bike, because, if somebody just randomly appears in front of you like that, you're going to fall off your motorcycle too. And this, almost kills him. And the devil's like, "You're no good to me dead, Johnny Blaze." Or I don't know if he said his last name, but you know what? Whatever. "You're no good to me dead," and slams his cane down. Johnny gets up, and dude, the fucking connected tissue of like start to finish of this, where he does the whole fucking pointing thing. The pointing thing, I don't know whose idea it was to do the point that he does every time the devil shows up, but god damn it, so much aura, and just fucking, you killed him. And he's just like super fucking angry. And honestly, you can feel it. Like, the performance is actually really good from this actor. And he points and goes, you killed him. And he's like, "Well, he couldn't get into the way of my plans. You see, I need you, Johnny. And it may not be now, but one day I'm going to come for you. And I'm going to call upon you. And you'll have to do whatever I say, because I own you now, Johnny." And as he does this, he basically knocks Johnny down to his knees, and he's like touching him, and he's like, "Forget about love, forget about family, forget about friends. You're mine, Johnny Blaze." And basically it's like, playing with his emotions, and basically takes out any fuel or fire to fight him. And he gives up and just gives in and lets go of everything. And, it's very different than the Johnny we see originally. It's like, he's soulless, he doesn't portray his emotions very well, because he's gotten it taken out of him, or so he thinks. And, so he gets, back on the bike after the devil leaves him, and the devil's going to be watching over him until he's ready to call upon him. And Johnny doesn't know what this indicates, but he knows it's probably not good. So he gets on his bike, drives to where he was going to meet Roxy. Doesn't even get off, it just looks at her. It's in the rain, it's pouring, and it's a sad moment where he looks at her, and then he drives off, leaving her in the rain with all her bags packed, and heartbroken. She's left heartbroken, and that's where we leave it, as Johnny's riding and trying to forget his troubles. And it cuts, with the eyes, right? The eyes transition to older Johnny, played by Nicolas Cage. He's still a stuntman, but he's doing more and more crazy stunts. And, every character around him is like talking about how it's almost like he's trying to kill himself. Because kind of partially true. He doesn't want to be associated with having sold his soul to the devil anymore. He's fucking depressed. And, he's about to do a big jump, one of the biggest of his career, where he's about to jump over, I think it was like 6 or 10, something like that, like semi-trucks. And of course there's fire, so he's going to jump through the fire, jump through the fire and then over these like 6 to 10 like semi-trucks. And his catchphrase in this movie is, "You can't live in fear. You can't live in fear." And he's telling himself this right before he does the jump. And he goes and tries to jump this thing. He closes his eyes, and as he closes his eyes, he remembers the deal that he made with the devil. And this causes him to lose his balance, and he crash lands on fully reaching the other side of the ramp, and goes head first, actually. And the motorcycle runs over his head. He should have honestly been close to death. But he comes out of this unscarred, and we all know why. The devil's keeping him alive, and he knows this, I think, too. And he crash lands and goes all the way from the ramp, skids across, and hits the wall of the other side of the stadium. And he's out for the count. His team rushes over to try to make sure he's okay. He gets up okay, and then the first thing he says when he wakes up, he goes, "Is your back okay?" And he gets up, he's fine, and then they go on the road again for his next show. And he's talking to his boy Mac, and Mac's playing this game based off of Johnny. It's like a stunt game. Honestly, this game would have been fun to play as well. I wish they would have actually had the game that he's playing and actually play as Johnny Blaze. That would have been a real cool tie-in game. But he crashes, and Johnny's like, "You tried not crashing?" And Mac's like, "Have you tried not crashing?" Kind of playing off of what just happened. And he turns off the game and decides to turn on TV. He's scrolling through the channels. Nicolas Cage has this obsession in this movie where he's got to watch a show about monkeys, bro. Like, I don't know what's up with him and monkeys, but damn it, it's hilarious. And he switches over to this thing talking about Johnny Blaze's next stunt. And Johnny the entire time's like, "Matt, can you go back to the Howler Monkey special? There's a movie about Howler monkeys." And Mac's like, "Hey man, relax, it's alright. Why don't you have a beer like the rest of us?" And he's like, "Alcohol gives me nightmares," and continues to eat, well, technically try to drink, but he's like eating these candies out of this martini glass. And it's fucking goofy. But yeah, so they're watching this like ESPN thing talk about like what Johnny's gonna do next, and apparently he's gonna jump an entire length of a football field, and he's gonna have like cars along the football field. I think about 20 or something like that is what it said. I don't know. I don't remember the exact number, but he's gonna jump this amount of cars across the length of a football field. And Mac thinks it's fucking nuts. Like, he barely could even do the semi-trucks. Now he's gonna fucking do a football field jump. And Mac's like, "Listen, dude, like, I get that, like, it's cool and all, but, like, you gotta start thinking about, like, how fucking serious this is. Like, are you good, bro? Like, what, are you trying to kill yourself?" And Johnny doesn't really, he's kind of, like, emotionless. Doesn't really respond well. And, he's soulless. And the portrayal of that is where I think Nick Cage is really getting into. Of, like, what would it be like if you sold your soul to the devil? What emotions would you really have after that? Because you would be emotionless. You would be mindless. You would be kind of like a flesh robot, Part of him is still there, but it's not all there. Like, that's clearly missing. And, I feel like that could come off as a flat performance, but actually it's just in line with the character, I think. Maybe I'm just justifying something that's actually shitty. I don't know. Regardless, they're talking about how many times he's cheated death, and apparently he's had a lot of stunts where he should have actually died. And Mac's like, that's just got to be divine intervention or luck. And Johnny looks off into the darkness because it's nighttime. He looks out and he's like, "Maybe it's something else." And it, like, a skull flashes, foreshadowing when he has the skull come on fire, that type of thing. It's really cool. I liked it. And as this happens, they drive off, and we get a nice little shot of this dark desert vastness. And some fire pouring from the skies. And then out of nowhere, from the darkness, this guy in a trench coat, looking like he just came straight out of Twilight, just walks through this fiery rain and does this like demonic thing, implying he's a demon, and he just came from hell, honestly. And honestly, it looks cool. And he walks up to this bar, and there's a dude at this bar who's like drinking a beer. And also, I forgot to mention that in the tent, when the devil shows up, it's implied that it gets really cold, because you can see Johnny's breath. Same thing happens here when this demon comes up to this bar. This dude's like drinking a beer, and he notices his beer bottle's freezing up, which honestly looked really cool. And the guy walks up, and he's like, "Hey, angels only in this bar. You got a problem with that?" And the dude, you know, being a demon, looks up at him, and he sticks his finger on his chest, and then just starts sucking the essence from his body, leaving him a fucking, like, grayless husk, and goes, "Yeah, actually, I do." Fucking, it's so cheesy, but so good. Damn it. And he fucking just drops to the ground, and he walks in like an utter badass, and just fucking goes into this bar. We don't see what he does until later, but damn it, it's implied that some fuckery goes down. After this, it cuts to Johnny and Mac going back to Johnny's apartment, where he puts on this song that goes, "Long ago." And he's putting more candies in a martini glass, and he's just trying to relax coming home. And Mac's talking to him about all this stuff that he's getting into, and sees all the weird books he's been reading. You know, he's thinking he's like getting his mind messed with, and it's like really like causing him to go down this dark depression hole, and he's like just trying to be a good friend. And Nicolas Cage is in pain, or I don't know, why did I call him Johnny Cage? God damn it. Johnny Blaze, Jesus, fuck, I had a stroke. Johnny is, you know, just trying to relax. He puts on another thing about monkeys, and he's watching it. It's like a monkey doing karate, and Mac's trying to have a serious conversation, but Johnny keeps laughing at the fucking monkey doing karate. And Mac turns off the music and then turns off the monkeys, and he's like, "Listen, you touch my music or my monkey special again, Mac, we're gonna have some fucking issues here." And he's like, "Listen, man, I'm just trying to look out for you. You're doing some weird shit and it's worrying me." And he's like, "Fine. You really want to know what's up? I'll tell you, dog. You ever feel like you fucked up? And like, do you think that if you fuck up and done something fucked up, like you have to repay for it the rest your entire life?" And he's like, you know, I don't know why, but it would have been funny to have like a meme where he goes, "You ever had a dream where you could do anything?" Just fucking put that over that. That would be fucking just I don't know. I'm on one today. Anyways, you know, he's being serious. He's like, "You ever felt like you fucked up so bad that like you have to repay the rest of your life, you know, paying for this thing that you fucked up for? And do you deserve a second chance and all that stuff?" And Mac's like, "I mean, I don't know, man. That's pretty deep." And he's like, you know, talking about this thing about the stunt being on the day of his dad's death. And, you know, Mac comes to the conclusion that he's like feels bad that he's like the reason his dad died and all that stuff. You know, he thinks that he's blaming himself, but in reality, he's like talking about making the deal with the devil, which is what led to his dad's death. So he feels guilty and responsible. And, you know, he's trying to make a good thing out of a good situation. He's trying to make a good thing out of a bad situation is what he's trying to do. And trying to make things better. And he feels like every time he gets on the bike, he's getting one step closer to doing that. And by breaking all these records and doing all this cool shit, he actually feels like he's accomplishing something. You know, it's giving him purpose. And that's the reason why he keeps getting more and more like intense with the stunts. And Mac's just like, "All right, man, just look, at least get rid of the cars." And then Nick goes, "I'll think about it." And he puts on the TV, but the monkey special's gone, and it's to this cartoon with the skeleton and all this stuff. We then cut back to the bar, and old boy has gone to town. and there's a lot of like husks of people, or what were once people are now fucking dead and lifeless all over the bar. And this girl is behind the bar, the bartender, and she's fucking scared. That would be pretty fucking scary if this dude just walks in and nobody's able to fucking stop him, and like leaving all these like husks of bodies. And then after all the commotion has settled down, after the commotion is all settled down, she's, trying to see if he's still there, and she looks and notices that, like, he knows exactly where she is. Like, he's just playing with her, and he's like, I knew you were here. I could smell your fear. It was just fucking Dr. Seuss this bitch out of existence. And then, as he does this, he starts noticing all the demons that were nearby. There was the ground demon who comes out of the dirt. There's also the air demon who comes from the air, and a water demon who comes from the water. And this is his little posse that he builds up. And they're like asking him, like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what are you doing? Because his name's Blackheart, and he has a black heart. And they're like, what are you doing here, Blackheart? And Blackheart's like, I'm here to take over hell, and I'm going to be the best out of hell, and I'm going to get the contract of San Venganza and take over hell from the devil, and I will be the new devil. And everybody claps in agreement, like, yes, Slay Queen. This is gorgeous. This is a phenomenal plan. And so they are agreeing to help him get the contract of San Venganza. And I don't know why I'm talking like this, but it just makes it so much funnier in my head. But yeah, so they're setting up that, like, they're wanting the contract of San Venganza, and they're gonna go try to find it where the graveyard is, where supposedly the contract is. So they're gonna go try to find the contract, and then we then cut to the next day, where they have made it to Texas, I believe. Oh, wait, no, he has a home in Texas. Duh. They go to a stadium in Texas, and he is about to perform this big, huge stunt, and he's trying to hype himself up. He's like, you can't live in fear. You can't live in fear. You can't live in fear. As it's playing, baby, 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 oh, baby, which is such a fucking Nick Cage. It's a Nick Cage thing all the way down to it. It's like just such a fucking goated, dude. Nick Cage is a word, dude. You can't tell me otherwise. But yeah, he's like hyping himself up. Max trying to make sure he's all good. And he gets ready to go do the jump. And as he goes out the doors, getting ready to get on his bike, reporters are there asking to do interviews, and Mac's like, man, you don't know Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze doesn't do interviews. And then we hear the voice of the Whammon, and the Whammon goes, even for an old friend? And then we get the, like, glam pop entrance of this fucking woman, and she's like coming in, and it's revealed she's Roxy. Fucking Nick Cage is taken aback. He's like fucking awestruck, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then proceeds to go do this interview, only to not actually answer any of her questions other than ask her questions in return. And the one question he does answer, she's like, are there any risks to doing these stunts? And she's like, is there any risks other than injury that comes with these stunts? And he like leans in like he's gonna give a profound statement, and just goes, yeah, and then backs up. Dude, it's so fucking good, dude. It's so good. Like, it's the most Nick Cage answer. God damn it. This, it's so good. But yeah, and the interaction between them's funny. He asks if she ended up getting married. She's like, no, implying she's single. And this, like, sends him through a whirl like, you know, Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. Maybe there's a chance. Oh, yeah. And fucking this gets him all psyched up. You know, this is the kind of thing that he needed. And I feel like this is what was implied back when he was younger, that like it was her giving him the like courage to actually be able to be good at what he does. So, you know, he's thinking about her, and then she leaves, and then he's like out there getting ready to do the stunt, and Mac's like talking him through, and he's like, man, I'm so glad you got rid of the cars. And then as he says this, in comes in 6 Black Hawk helicopters that he's going to jump over, and they're not going to turn off the fucking rotors. So there's a high possibility this motherfucker, if he fucks up, he is dead. He is going to get chopped up in a million pieces. And Mac's like, are you fucking kidding me? God damn it, bro. I would be so shitty to be a dude. The amount of stress they put Mac in is fucking ungodly. And this man, you can see it on this boy's face. I want somebody to look at me the way Mac looks out at these fucking Black Hawk helicopters. Please, bro. Come on. Wait, no. Mac looking out at these Black Hawk helicopters is how everybody's reaction to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League when it launched was. That is how everybody's face looked. The stress on this poor man is fucking unmatched, bro. Damn it, dude. I can just picture it in my mind, bro. It's so good. Fuck, I can't get over it. But he's just staring out at this thing. And Nick Cage goes, I got rid of the cars. Son of a bitch. And fuck, okay, it's not that funny. Jesus. Oh, fuck. And he's looking out, and Mac's like, why, JB? Why a fucking helicopter, man? And he goes into a flashback in his mind, and his dad was, remember the point where I'm like, you know what'd be even better than a car or a flaming hoop? A helicopter. And he's like, my dad thought it would be cool. And it makes it even more impactful when you realize that this is the day that his dad died. So he's almost doing it in a way to honor his dad, as well as break a record, because nobody in this universe has, well, in this particular, Marvel universe thing, has ever done this kind of stunt where they've jumped over an entire field goal. And now he's going to be the first one to not only jump over an entire length of a field goal, length of a football field, he's also going to do it over 6 Black Hawk helicopters, which is fucking nuts. And Mac's like, all right, if you're really gonna do this, man, like, you gotta lock the fuck in. And Johnny doesn't even take any moment to hesitate. He instantly locks the fuck in and does the jump before Mac can even finish his sentence and process that he has just fucking done this. And he jumps it. Well, before that, he's like, she's probably by the interstate by now. And, like, he's more focused on, like, getting to talk to her than he is, like, doing the jump. Like, he's not even fucking phased. And it cuts to Roxanne's character in the van with their cameraman. The cameraman's like, hey, can we go watch this? Like, this would be fucking cool. And she's like, no, I hate watching him jump. Like, we're not doing that. And he's like, damn it, man, like, it would be really fucking cool. And, like, they're actually on the interstate, and he does the jump, and he closes his eyes again, and all he can think about is Roxanne and how he used to love her and all this stuff. I mean how he loved her. He closes his eyes and thinks about Roxanne and how he loved her and how much in love he was and all this stuff and good memories. And instead of him keeping his eyes closed, and that's what caused him to crash, thinking about the devil, he thinks about Roxanne. And this time he opens his eyes back up, fueled with confidence, and he lands this shit on the other side of the ramp, fucking clears it, no problems whatsoever. And Mac's like, fuck yeah, and then Johnny takes off through the stadium, still on his motorcycle, and Mac's like, where the fuck's he going? And he's going down onto this interstate, and he's trying to get up to Roxanne, and, you know, cutting back to Roxanne. Roxanne's, you know, still trying to tell her cameraman, like, fucking drop it, bro. Do not talk about Johnny Blaze again. And immediately this guy looks into the mirror, and he's like, yeah, it's gonna be a problem. And she's like, why? And he's like, he's right behind us. And she's like, fucking what? And then Johnny just pulls up. He's like, hey, pull over. I need to talk to you. And she's like, no. And he's like, fuck, okay. And he comes back up. He's doing a stunt. His fucking, he's sitting on the fucking front end of the motorcycle doing like this like cool stunt shit. And he's like, could you please pull over? And she's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And he's like, fine, gonna be like that then. And he goes off to the other side and tries to talk to Stuart, the driver. And Stuart's like, listen, man, as much as I would love to, she pays the bills, bro. She's boss lady. I gotta follow her directions. He's like, okay, we're gonna play this the hard way. And then, you know, he almost gets hit by a semi. He dodges the way out of it. And then he gets in front of their van and causes them to stop. Otherwise, they're gonna hit him. And they damn near do. And this pisses Roxanne off because he's just trying to get himself killed at this point. And she's like, are you trying to get yourself killed? What the fuck are you doing, dog? Like, damn, fine, fuck, I'm here. What the fuck do you want? And he's like, I just wanted to talk to you, man. Like, she's like, oh, you want some closure? You want some closure? And he's like, yeah, like, you know, I just wanted to talk, see how you're doing. And she's like, you know, not even trying to give him the time of day. She's like so upset with him, and he's like, oh, shush, and like kisses her. And then she, you know, still has feelings for him. And she's like, okay, fine. Meet me at my hotel's restaurant at 8 and don't be late. And he fucking goes, yes! And fucking is like celebrating. And he fucking seals the deal, and she's going off to go get ready for her date. And he's fucking just so hyped right now. This dude's on top of the world. And a bunch of fans come out of the cars. Immediately they were pissed and about to go fucking give them the what for, but then they noticed it was Johnny Blaze, and they're all fucking like fangirling over him. So they're immediately asking for autographs. He's like, listen, yeah, it's me. Also, I just cleared 300 feet of an entire fucking football field on 6 black helicopters. You're welcome. I'm that awesome. And yeah, he sends in the interstate fucking getting autographs. And then we cut to Blackheart walking down, trying to get his way to the place where the graveyard is with the contract of San Venganza. But then, all of a sudden, Mephistopheles, if you don't know, Mephisto, from the MCU, which is the version of the devil, that's his name, appears in front of Blackheart, and he's like, Blackheart, what the fuck are you doing? And Blackheart's like, I will fuck you, literally. By getting this contract, I will fuck you. Your time is now, old comer. The future is now, old man. And the old man's like, fuck no. You really think you're just gonna pull up on my crib and do me like this shit? No. I will get my Ghost Rider and sick him upon you. And Blackheart's like, you just try and fucking fuck me with your Ghost Rider. We will fuck your Ghost Rider back. We'll fuck him back. And Mephisto's like, what? What the fuck are you on about, dog? Like, he's gonna fuck you up. And Blackheart, you know, he's cocky, he's arrogant, you know, all that jazz. Doesn't take no for an answer from what he calls a boomer from hell. And off he fucks to go get this contract, and they make it down to a train yard. Well, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but you know, we cut back to Johnny after this. He's getting ready for his date. You know, Roxanne's already in the restaurant. She's having the dude pour a fuck ton of wine. Like, she's getting white girl wasted before he even shows up, because she is that much nervous. And also, not only nervous that the fact that she's about to go on a date with Johnny Blaze, but also the fact that, like, she's nervous because there's a chance, like, he might not even show up and leave her disappointed again. And yeah, so there's a lot of like trust issues when it comes to Johnny. And you know, Johnny's psyching himself up, listening to the long ago. And he's like, you can't live in fear. You can't live in fear. You can't live in... And as he says that, you know, his hands start glowing bright red. He's like, what the fuck? And like he turns on the water, you know, he's like pouring the water on his hands, but it doesn't stop the redness. And actually when the water hits his hands, it's almost like it's producing a steam. So his hands are producing heat. And as he does this, he hears his motorcycle from outside revving itself. And he's like, somebody's here. Somebody stole my shit. Looks out, and not only was one of his motorcycles missing, it was actually the motorcycle he had back when his dad died. So this one has like a personal attachment to him. And he goes out and tries to find it. And when he enters the alleyway, we hear this menacing voice go, Johnny. He walks closer down this alley, and it goes, Johnny. And he gets all the way down to where his motorcycle is. It's running by itself, and it's facing a certain direction. And he turns the direction that it's facing, does his iconic point, and goes, you. What are you doing here? And he goes, it's nice to see you again, Johnny. I've been watching you, waiting. And now it's time. I need you, Johnny. And he's like, yeah, what do you need me for? He's like, I need you to go after the one they call Blackheart. He's going after a contract worth 1,000 souls. I need you to get to it before he does. And he's like, why don't you do it? I'm not doing anything for you. He's like, well, you don't have a choice, Johnny. You're mine. I own you. It's not how that shit works. And then Johnny gets on his bike about to ride off to his date. But the devil makes him lock the fuck in, and he's unable to leave. And the devil sends him off on his way, unable to steer or do anything to even get off the bike. He's going fucking faster than anything on this fucking motorcycle. Fast enough to where the motorcycle is leaving a trail of fire. And, you know, we cut many times to Roxy in this restaurant waiting for him, and she's, you know, visibly disappointed and like worried that he's not going to show up, which unfortunately he's not making it to that dinner. And he zooms down to the train yard that Blackheart's at, and Blackheart, meanwhile, is at this train yard with his posse of demons. And he's walking down all cool and sinister, like trying to find a graveyard. And then this guy is like, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." And they turn around, like, "The fuck you just say to us? Like, we can't be here, but we're here. How do you explain this, pussy?" And Blackheart goes to him and like, "Hey, man, where is this graveyard where the contract of San Venganza is?" And he's like, like, oh, the graveyard, yes, the graveyard is no longer here anymore. He's like, oh, where is it? And they're like, oh, well, you got to talk to the priest. Sends him on like a fucking, dude, Blackheart's on the most like fuck you side quest of any fucking villain ever, bro. They send this motherfucker on a Bethesda RPG style side quest, like fucking like fetch quest. Like, oh, you thought it was here? No, it's actually here. Go talk to this person now, because they have it now. And they oversaw the whole thing. And Blackheart's like, man, that fucking sucks for you. And then like takes his like life essence and leaves him drained. And my face when she keeps sucking type energy. And they keep walking, and then Ghost Rider makes it to the train yard, and he gets launched off his motorcycle into this warehouse. And we get one of the best transformations into any monster/hero I have seen in a hot minute, where, you know, Nicolas Cage is acting the fuck out of this, and he's just being Nick Cage. And he sells this transformation of him like going fucking batshit crazy, and he is walking, and as he's walking, his feet are catching on fire with each step he makes. and his facial expressions and his like screams are being guttural and more deep, and then his skin is like reeling away, peeling off as it burns. His entire body's burning, and he is fully transformed into Ghost Rider. Yes, with his fiery skull and skeleton-like appearance, and it looks pretty badass, I can't lie. As much as I've been like goofing off for almost an hour, it looks badass. And he comes out, and he's ready to fuck some shit up. He goes out and then immediately gets stuck by the water guy. He comes out and immediately gets fucked by the air demon, who pushes him all the way back and fucking knocks him into the thing. And then Blackheart's like, "You thought you could fuck us, Ghost Rider? We're going to fuck you." And then like he's hanging by this chain on the neck, because that's where the air demon had like launched him towards, and it looks like he's like hanging, and he fucking flames the fuck back on, drops down, grabs the chain, and then he starts using this chain as his weapon, which I think is fucking awesome. And he starts beating the shit out of people with chains, and he takes the chain and tries to use it as his weapon, and he goes to walk out, gets stuck by the water demon, who then allows him to stay in place long enough for the dirt demon to fucking slam into him with a semi-truck, crushing him. And Blackheart's like, "Yes, get fucked, pussy. You thought you could outsmart me, but my minions are smarter than you," says I, and then walks off. And the dirt demon was like, "Not so tough at all," and then walks off slightly behind the others, so that Ghost Rider can have some time to break free and be like, "Sup, pussy," and takes his chain, wraps it around the dirt demon. The dirt demon's like screaming for help, but like, you think demons are going to save you, pussy? Like, they're evil. Like, they're just gonna let you die so they can like have time to go off and do their own shit. And sure enough, yeah, that's what happens. Ghost Rider takes out the dirt demon, and yeah, it's easy fucking peasy. Like, simple, honestly. And you know, it's whatever. The dude's made like out of dirt, so it's like, eh. But still cool. And he takes out the dirt demon, and he just is so fueled by the hatred of hell and the pureness of the innocence, and he rides off on his motorcycle trying to chase down Blackheart. But as he does, he hears the screams of an innocent person, and he can't just let it go. And so he goes and tries to find out what's happening, and this lady, who I think may be Rebel Wilson from Pitch Perfect, is getting mugged in an alley, and Ghost Rider will stop him, and he goes, "Hey, you, guilty, get the fuck away," and tells the girl to run. And so she grabs her bag and runs, and the dude's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, dude," to this guy who's got a skeleton on fire. And yeah, like, I don't know what the fuck this guy thought he was doing, but it was not it. And so this is the first time we see Ghost Rider use the penance stare, which allows him to look into the life of... When they look into Ghost Rider's eyes, they see all the wrongdoings they've ever done, their sins, if you will, reflected back onto them, and they experience what they did through the pain of their victims. So whatever pain they forced onto other people, they in turn will feel 10 times more, and will suffer for all of eternity, facing their sins. Basically, putting them in hell, essentially. That's it. They literally mind locks them into hell. And so yeah, he basically burns into this guy's eyes hell. Like, this guy has done some fuck shit, apparently. Like, he's murdered people, and yeah, Ghost Rider makes him pay for it. And he rides off into the night, makes it all the way to this graveyard where the night turns to day, and he turns back into Nick Cage, and he crawls and makes his way all the way to his dad's grave, and he passes out. And then Sam Elliott, of course, finds him and tells him that, like, it's all right, everything's gonna be okay, and takes him off into a shed, lets him rest up, has a bunch of water there for him, and then Nick Cage talks to him, and he's like, what the fuck happened? He's like, you're a ghostwriter. It's what you do. You're gonna turn into that every night until you complete your mission. And Nick's like, damn, this fucking sucks. Like damn. And he starts learning more about what it means to be a ghostwriter. And during this, we cut to Roxanne, who is interviewing a chief police about all the events that have transpired, and a lot has transpired, of course. And she's not making any progress. The police aren't making any progress, but they are trying to figure out what the fuck happened, and they are aware that some fuck shit went down the previous night. And then we cut to Sam patching up a boy, Johnny, and they're talking about the contract, and he's letting them know about the story of San Venganza, where San Venganza was full of evil, like greed and stuff and all that, and that's why when they died, and the town was completely wiped out because they all killed each other to be like the best. It was filled with evil. It's just one of the most evil places on earth, from how they're describing it. And he's explaining that, like, the ghostwriters are the devil's bounty hunters and all that stuff. And we basically get a recap of, like, the first monologue with Sam, and just giving us some lore. And then he asks Johnny, who'd he send you after anyway? And he's like, Blackheart. And he's like, he sent you after Blackheart? He's like, yeah. And he has some other guys with him, some other demons. And he's like, the Hidden. They're basically like the bringers of the apocalypse. And he explains to him that, like, well, you might as well stay here because they can't come onto hallowed ground. And your best bet is to stay here. And Johnny's like, well, that's not gonna happen, Captain. I'm gonna go out and try to make up to Roxy. But he doesn't say that, but that's what he's gonna go do. And he's like, well, you honestly should stay here, dude. Like, it's gonna happen again. And Johnny's like, all right, I'll keep that in mind. And goes off, realizes and drives through the place that he did, where he left like a trail of like fucking destruction, because like he burnt the asphalt to where it left like motorcycle tracks and all this stuff. And wow, I've taken a long time to describe this movie, but I'm going in depth on it. I love this movie. So he takes a look at all the destruction, and even sees Roxy interviewing the girl that he saved, and she was describing how he looked, and he didn't even take into consideration how he looked, I guess, because he was touching on his face, like, that's really what I looked like. And he eventually ends up talking to Roxy. Roxy's pissed because yet again he has like failed her, and fucking valid. And it's so valid that he even gets stun locked, and it's like, damn, no, honestly, yeah, you're right. And just lets her go. And she leaves because she's pissed off that he once again has left her, and he's never going to change, and basically like demoralizes him a little bit, and rides off into the sunset while he goes off and goes to his apartment, I think. And then, as this happens, the police find out that there is a license plate that came off of a bike, of a motorcycle, and it turns out to be Johnny Blaze's. They're able to trace this now via the license plate. So Johnny goes back to his home, and he then gets surprised by Roxanne, who comes trying to make up to Johnny. She apologizes, and she's going through all the memory lane trips, because Johnny keeps all of the posters from the carnival, and then also has the little pictures that they took back when they were dating, and she remembers all this stuff, and she's talking to him about it. And she's asking him, like, Johnny, like, I'm so confused. Like, one minute you want me here, and then the next minute you're, like, not showing up. And then Johnny's like, well, I think you need to leave. And, they're kissing and making up, but he's like, I think you need to leave. And she's like, I don't get you. One minute you want me, next minute you don't. Then you want me again. It's like, why is it never, like, the right time for you? And then he's like, you want me to tell you the truth? And she's like, yeah, I want the truth. And he's like, okay, well, I'm the devil's bounty hunter. I work for the devil. And she's like, you're fucking insane. Okay, so there's two options. I put you in an insane asylum because you sound insane, or I walk out the door forever because you would rather lie to me than to actually tell me the truth. And of course, she ends up leaving and going her separate way. And as she does this, the cops come and arrest Johnny because they found his license plate at the scene of the crimes, and they're trying to blame him for murder. Well, Johnny is brutally honest in this movie with everybody. He was honest with, Roxanne, but she didn't believe him because it sounds fucking crazy to anyone who doesn't know what we've seen him do. And so the cops basically are interrogating him. They're doing the good cop, bad cop. He knows this. He's like, I've seen you guys do this on TV, but I didn't kill nobody. And actually, after I'm done with my stunt services, I would love to be a cop and help out. They're not taking him, with any sort of seriousness. And they go and put him in jail. And the thing we did learn about Johnny was that when he goes into becoming the Ghost Rider, he transforms at night, but also easier around guilty souls. And what more of a place with guilty souls would there be than a jail? So naturally, of course, they put him in jail. He's like, you gotta let me out of here. And one of the guys in there recognizes him and he goes, hey, you look like that Johnny Blaze. And he goes, yeah, I get that a lot. And he's trying not to turn into a Ghost Rider. And the guy's like, yeah, I watched you and I wanted to see you die. You never died. Now I'm pissed off. Hey, by the way, nice jacket. And this group of guys starts, getting closer, like they're gonna start beating him up. And this one kid in there is like, hey man, like, why don't you just leave him alone? They're like, hey, shut the fuck up. Nobody asked you. And they just fucking bitch slap him. And they start beating the shit out of Nick Cage. And then finally, he has enough and goes and turns into the Ghost Rider and scares the shit out of all of them. And he walks up to the guy that was beating the shit out of him. And he looks at him and goes, guilty. And he walks over to him and goes, nice jacket. And takes it, put it on. It's the iconic jacket that he wears. Puts on the gloves, and all these spikes out of the jacket and the gloves pop out, because it's fucking awesome. And he walks like he's gonna go to the door of the jail cell and turns around and looks at the guy that tried to help him out and points at him and goes, innocent. And then waves his hand over the metal bars and melts them with hell energy and goes and whistles. And the one thing I forgot to mention, that when he first transformed after killing the dirt guy, he whistles for his bike and turns it into this fucking awesome motorcycle. Yeah, that shit is fucking goated. I love his iconic motorcycle design. That shit is fucking sick. He whistles again, and calls his bike to the front of the police station. He's walking out, and this cop thinks he's literally gonna come up behind him and fucking just schwack him with the nightstick. He turns around with a broken jaw, pops his jaw back into place, and just literally goes, and gets back on his bike and drives off like it didn't even phase him. Dude, the aura. Fucking, he goes off, the police are chasing him, and they chase him up this little archway on this bridge, and he gets cornered, right? They got cops on both sides of this bridge. He's like trapped, or so they think. And then his motherfucker decides to grind his motorcycle down the side of this bridge into the water, pops back up out of the water because his motorcycle can fucking drive on water, and fucking flips off all the cops as he rides away as a big old fuck you, you're not getting me, suck my dick, and fucking just drives off down the river. Like, dude, it's so fucking badass. And don't stop there. He gets back onto the main road, and the Blackheart notices that Ghost Rider's nearby, and is like, hey, air guy, you need to stop the Ghost Rider, slow him down a little bit. And the air guy's like, I got you, fam, and fucking comes and attacks Ghost Rider and knocks him off his bike. He gets back on his bike and starts chasing the air guy, and this one lone cop is like, hey, I have Ghost Rider. We're going to catch him. He's got nowhere else to go. It's a dead end. And then dispatch is like, good, keep us posted. And then all of a sudden, the air guy goes up the dead end wall of this skyscraper, and Ghost Rider's like, yeah, bitch, you thought? And then wheelies fucking starts driving up the fucking side of this skyscraper, and the cop's like, dispatch, he's going up. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's going up. And you zoom out to see Ghost Rider riding his motorcycle up the side of this skyscraper. And of course, he had told Roxy that he turns into this monster at night and he works for the devil. And, she's seeing in her room, packing up, getting ready to leave town because she can't just deal with Johnny anymore and all this stuff. And then she turns around and sees that there is a monster riding up the side of a fucking skyscraper, and she realizes, oh shit, he was telling the truth. And he gets to the top of the skyscraper, and the police are fucking furious. They start fucking sending all their cars to the bottom of this skyscraper. They have a helicopter in the sky. Roxanne gets down there, because she's a reporter. She's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And they're all just staring up at this thing. And of course, the air demons are laughing, haha, fuck you. You're not going to catch me. And the helicopter gets close and personal to the Ghost Rider, and this pisses him off. And he takes his chain and fucking and pulls the helicopter closer to him, and he goes, come here, you're pissing me off. And then the guy's like, okay, I'll back the fuck off, please don't kill me. And then fucking he takes the helicopter, spins it around, and fucking throws it fucking to get it to fuck away from him. Aura. And then the air demon's like, haha, you thought you caught me, but you haven't caught shit, pussy. And Ghost Rider's like, we'll see about that. And fucking he tries to chain the dude, and the air demon's like, haha, you can't catch me, pussy. And he's like, alright, fine. And then he takes his chain, lights it on fire, swirls it around, creating I would assume a vortex to counteract the effects of the wind, and just heat up the air in the wind so that the air burns the wind demon. And that's how the wind demon gets killed. The villains in this movie are not the greatest, like the Hulk 2003 movie. However, they're okay. They're fun. Right? This movie isn't a serious movie when it comes to the side villains in this. they're just throwaways that are fun. You know, this movie's a fun ride, no pun intended. And you know, at the end of the day, that's what this movie excels at. This gives you a fun, dark experience, right? It's dark, but it's still fun and enjoyable all the way through. Because there's a lot of stuff to enjoy about this movie. And yeah, so he takes care of the wind demon, and then we get the coolest fucking thing. He gets back on his bike and just fucking yeets off of this fucking skyscraper, slams his chain into the side of the skyscraper so he can proceed to drive back down the side of it, pulls another wheelie maneuver, and then does a superhero landing with a fucking motorcycle. Bro, if you can't fucking at least say that this is peak, you're fucking tripping, dog. Like, name one other fucker in the Marvel Universe that has come close to having this much aura besides Blade. There isn't one. Like, this motherfucker does a superhero landing with a motorcycle on fire from hell. Like, hell's not cool, but this makes hell a little cool. I can't lie. Like, it's fucking insane. And then, of course, we get a moment where Roxanne notices Johnny, and Johnny notices Roxanne, and he calms like Bruce does. But he calms, and once he calms down, his flame shifts to a subtle blue. And not blue like vengeance blue, but like just blue, symbolizing the flames are a little bit calmer. And he walks up to her, reaches out to her, because he's longing for her, and he doesn't want her to see him like this. And the cops go to raise their guns. She knows that he's about to get shot, and then they shoot him, and then he's getting shot up, and then he gets pissed off, and then fucking causes a shockwave of flames and rides off into the sunset. But as he does, Blackheart notices that he loves Roxanne, and he's like, that's our weakness. That's how we stop the Ghost Rider. And Johnny goes back to the groundskeeper, and he's like, listen, how do I stop this? I gotta put an end to this. And the groundskeeper's like, well, he's coming after the contract, and let me tell you about the contract. So he goes into the lore about the Western Ghost Rider named Carter Slade, who was a poor soul who was a sheriff once, a Texas Ranger, who ended up getting greedy and sentenced to jail, and was going to be hung on the gallows. And then the devil came to him one day and offered him a chance to redeem himself. And so he takes up the deal, and to get out of jail and not get hung, he would get this contract for the devil. However, when he goes to get the contract from San Venganza, he realizes the power, and we know how it ends. He outruns the devil, so the devil can't get his contract on him. It's presumably, you know, saying like, hey, even though you made a deal with the devil, you can kind of like use that to kind of fight against his plans. So, you know, that being said, yeah, and he learns this, and he's like, well, you gotta watch out for Blackheart, because Blackheart's gonna do everything he can to get his hands on this contract. He's gonna go after everyone you love and all your friends and family. He's gonna fuck with everything until like nothing's left. And this gets Johnny realizing like, oh shit, he's gonna go after Roxanne. And he goes back to his apartment, or tries to, and Mac's already there, and Roxanne's there. Roxanne and Mac are talking to each other, and they're discussing things about Johnny. Mac's letting him know that he's been getting into some weird shit, and Roxanne, you know, is taking all of this into account, but then Blackheart shows up and kills off Mac, which is sad, because I actually liked Mac as a character. But, yeah, then he starts to fuck with Roxanne, and Johnny shows up. He sees Max dead, and he's trying to make sure that Roxanne's okay. And he goes over to Roxanne, who's like on the floor, like on the verge of losing her life essence, and she points off to Blackheart, and Blackheart and Johnny have a confrontation, and he turns into the Ghost Rider, but then he knocks him out of Ghost Rider form. But Ghost Rider tries to, before he gets knocked out of his form, tries to do the penance stare on Blackheart. But Blackheart laughs like, "You fucking fool. You thought that the penance stare would work on me? That only works if you have a soul, bitch. I'm soulless. Haha, fool." And then knocks him to the floor. He knocks him to the floor and takes him out of the Ghost Rider form. He's like, "Listen, you don't work for my father anymore. You work for me. You're gonna give me the contract, or I'm gonna kill the woman you left. It's plain as day. It's pure simple." And Nick's like, "Okay." Or Johnny's like, yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'll do it. And then he goes back to the groundskeeper as Blackheart takes Roxanne to San Venganza, where he'll wait for the contract. And he goes to the groundskeeper, and Johnny's like, "Look, I know I probably shouldn't do this, but like I've got a plan. Trust me. You're gonna need to give me the contract. I need to find it. Where is it?" You know, the groundskeeper's not really saying much. He's just kind of processing everything. And then Johnny's like, "All right, fine. I'll dig it up myself. I'll dig up the entire graveyard if I have to. I have to get this before sunrise." And he goes, "Well, it ain't gonna be there. You won't find it there." And he breaks the shovel that he's been holding the entire time to reveal that he had the contract of San Venganza all along. And we're about to find out why. And they start having a heart-to-heart, and he's like, "Well, I gotta get this over to San Venganza." And he's like, "Well, you're gonna need some help." And he whistles to call in his horse, revealing that he is Carter Slade, the Western Ghost Rider. And this is so fucking peak. To see him transform into Ghost Rider and explain that, like, he's been saving this for a while, and to have the horse also turn into a fucking flaming Ghost Rider, like, thing is just, dude, this scene was so fucking good. And then they ride off into the distance and have their fucking moment where it's playing the dun 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 dun. It's playing the Ghost Rider song. And dude, every time I hear this song, I think of this movie and this scene, because it's so fucking peak. It's so aura. And they're riding off to San Venganza because Carter knows the way. And dude, this scene is just so fucking good. And they're riding off. They get to San Venganza, and Carter backs off. He's like, "Well, this is the end of the line for me. I could only change one more time, and I was saving it for this moment to get you here to San Venganza." And then as soon as he changes and tells him good luck, basically, he gives him a shotgun. And I think it's either a shotgun or it's a carbine. I don't know. He gives him a gun and fades into legend and is gone. And he will be missed, because that is fucking peak. I still would love to see that character in his own thing, but you know, we probably won't ever get that, which sucks. But you know, it's aura, it's peak. There's probably comics of him. And yeah, so Johnny goes to make his way to San Venganza, and of course he has to go through the water. So he goes through this like swampy water area and gets dragged underneath the water, and of course the water demon's there. And this is what he wanted, because he thinks that Johnny's not going to turn in the Ghost Rider. Johnny turns in the Ghost Rider, essentially boiling the water to where he burns the demon, and ends up killing that demon, and walks to the shore of San Venganza, to where Blackheart has Roxanne is waiting. And he walks up with the contract in hand. He's like, "I'll give you the contract, just let her go first." And Blackheart fucking just chucks Roxanne and fucking Johnny walks up to him, about to hand him the contract, but he doesn't let go, and he turns into fucking Ghost Rider, and they start fighting, right? And they start throwing hands, and Johnny's getting fucked up, and, you know, it's turning into daytime, so he turns back into Nick Cage, and this is honestly a problem, because if he can't beat Ghost Rider, how is he going to stop Blackheart? Well, Johnny notices that he can get him into the darkness, and he'll have a chance. So at this point, though, Johnny gets thrown aback, and Blackheart reads the contract. He gets all 1,000 souls put into his body, and he looks fucking evil here. I can't lie. The transition of how he looked before versus when he gets the red eyes and fucking looks fucking evil and goes, "We are legion, for we are many," is so fucking evil and just honestly iconic. I remember that fucking plain as day. That'll always fucking sit with me because it's fucking uneasy. But yeah, so he has all of these 1,000 souls in him, and he needs to lead Blackheart to the shadows. So he does. He starts shooting at him with the gun, and Blackheart comes up. You know, each shot, you know, knocks pieces off of Blackheart, but he doesn't care. He's walking through the damage, and he's making his way towards Johnny. And he punches Johnny, knocks him out, back onto his back, and through the doors of the church, and fights in this church, and gets knocked back, and brought into the church, and you know, Johnny's fighting him still. He's getting fucking whooped, and of course Roxanne gets into the fight and picks up the gun that Johnny dropped and starts shooting at Blackheart to get him distracted long enough. And Johnny's like, "Throw me the gun, throw me the gun," and Johnny grabs the gun even though it's out of ammo and shoots Blackheart. This is done in the shadows to where he can turn his hand specifically into Ghost Rider, and the gun turns into like a cool Ghost Rider-y like shotgun carbine thing and just fucking blasts Blackheart apart. Right, and this would have killed him. However, because he has 1,000 souls, the souls are what blasts out, spreading apart Blackheart, so they come back together to form Blackheart. And Johnny's like, "We're gonna have to do something a little bit different than that." And Johnny goes fully into the shadows, turns back into Ghost Rider, grabs Blackheart, who thinks that he's won, and he does the penance stare on Blackheart, who now has a soul, not just one, more than 1,000, and burns Blackheart and makes Blackheart pay for everything that he's ever done, which is a lot because he's a demon, and he's got the name Blackheart, so his heart is black like coal. And yeah, so he basically forces him to live in eternal damnation of his own making. And yeah, he did it. He succeeds, you know, and he gets the girl. Everything's happy, and he goes to walk out of the church with Roxanne, and then the devil is at the doorway, and he points and goes, "You," one last time. And the devil goes, oh, I forgot to mention that he's doing all this to get his soul back, because the devil promised him his soul back, and he goes, "You did it, Johnny. You got the contract. You did everything I asked you to do. Now you can just hand over your power and go back and give you your soul, and you can go on your way. Live life. Have a family, Johnny. There's more deals to be made, more people to be turned into Ghost Rider, all of that stuff." And Johnny's like thinking about it, almost does it. Roxanne thinks he's gonna do it, and then he goes, "No, I'll own this curse, and I will use it to hunt you down and make sure that no innocent blood is ever spilled. And if there is, I'll imagine that it's my father. And I'll come for you every single time, fighting fire with fire. And the devil goes, this is a mistake that you will not be able to live with, or some shit like that. And he goes, you can't live in fear. And the devil gets pissed off, stun-locked by the altercation, and just goes back to hell, taking Blackheart with him. And that's it. He succeeded. And he stays as Ghost Rider. And him and Roxanne go back to the tree where they were, and they're talking about everything. And Roxanne's like, how come every decision you make ends up with us never being together? And they basically, you know, don't end up getting back together, which is sad. And honestly, it kind of sucks because I was rooting for him. This movie is at the end here, it's like, it's happy that they won, but like also it's sad because he doesn't actually get what he wants, and he has to like live with this curse. And I'm sure they were gonna make that like expanded upon later on, but they never got to see that through, and it kind of sucks. But this first Ghost Rider movie, and of course it ends at the same tree, and of course it fades off because he loves her, and JNR forever still on the tree. And you know, they were probably going to do something different than what we got in the actual sequel, but overall this movie was a great movie. And I'll probably cut this down, but at the time of recording, this is over an hour and 27 minutes long. I wasn't planning on it being this long. There will definitely be a lot of stuff cut out, but yeah, overall this movie's great. I enjoyed this movie from start to finish. It is, of course, not the best movie of all time. It's got its flaws. It's got a lot of puns. The villains are lackluster. Blah, blah, blah-de-blah. It is still not worse than She-Hulk. It's not worse than the Marvels. This shit has aura. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to stand 10 toes down on business and say that this fucking movie has aura. Now, maybe the sequel, I don't remember a lot about Spirit of Vengeance, but I know that that one wasn't as good as the first one, in my opinion, that I remember. Maybe I'll change my tune when I go to actually review that movie. But yeah, this movie overall, if I had to rate this movie, I would give this movie an 8.5. I love this movie. This movie has aura. The fucking, you know, Nick Cage, I also love Nick Cage, so like, even though like some of his acting in this could be considered cringy to some, I love his acting, and I feel like his interpretation of the character is actually valid, and like his emotionless like responses in the character makes sense because he has no soul, and he's like taking that literally, I think, and it's like an artistic way to approach that. But this is very accurate to the comics from what I understand. I don't know a lot about Ghost Rider, but I know like a lot of the basics. And yeah, like this stays true to the character, and it's very comic accurate. And dude, some of the shit they had planned for the sequel, I wish they would have done, because like there's a 2007 PS2 game which I will be playing on the channel. It's fucking goated, from what I have seen, and my god, this shit would have been peak, because I found out in that game fucking Blade makes an appearance, and they were fucking thinking of doing what I was thinking when I fucking was about to watch this movie. I'm like, it would be cool. It'd be cool to see Ghost Rider and Blade team up to find vampires and demons. Dude, they were thinking the same thing, because that's just fucking nerdy aura. That's nerdy peak, bro. Oh, excuse me. Oh, fuck. That would have been cool. And, dude, that game, in my mind, is what Ghost Rider 2 should have been. Honestly, you take that game, strip down the, like, gameplay, of course, heavy elements to that game, you have a fucking goated Ghost Rider movie. Honestly, I might fucking rewrite that into, like, a little fan thing. But, whatever. It's goated. It's fucking great. The movie, 8.5 out of 10. Fun blast. Let me know what you thought about the movie, whether or not you enjoyed loved it, hated it, what all you disliked, liked about it, all that good stuff down in the comments. Leave a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. This video has been going on far too long. That's my review of Ghost Rider. It's a fun ride all the way through. And even though they could be considered trash to other people, they're a part of my special collection of nostalgia and good times. And every time I watch this movie, I know it'll be a good time, and I'll enjoy every step of the way, start to finish. And yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know what movie I'm going to be doing next. I probably will be doing Daredevil, potentially, or maybe I'll do another movie. I'll probably start doing Fantastic Four, honestly. Yeah, I think it's time, because I want to save Spider-Man for last. So I'll probably do Fantastic Four, then Spider-Man 1, Fantastic Four 2, Rise of the Silver Surfer, then Spider-Man 2, then I think maybe starting X-Men? Maybe? Or Blade? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I want to do. And, yeah. That'll be a lot to look forward to. This video is 1 hour and 32 minutes. Good God. This is going to be a lot of editing. But I don't care. This is worth it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Deuces. Bye-bye.